So there's a career out there where people with no advanced degree, no medical background, no connections are making $100,000, $150,000, even $300,000 a year. And it's not coding, and it's not real estate, and it's not starting a business. And not that many people talk about it because not many people understand it. And the people who are in it don't really want competition. But by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what it is, how much it really pays, and whether or not you'd actually be any good at it. So look, I'm not going to make you wait until the end of this video to bait you. I'll tell you what it is in like 30 seconds. But first, I want to explain why this career is hidden in plain sight, because that actually matters. So everyone knows about doctors, lawyers, engineers, tech, software development, coding, and most career advice online is really just dominated by these same 5 or 6 paths. But this career has no major in college. Career counselors don't mention it because they don't really know it exists. Most parents don't even know that it exists. Colleges don't funnel students into it because they don't really know much about it. But the people who are in it are quietly making hundreds of thousands of dollars per year, and they have zero incentive to advertise. Now, as a result, it's a massive, high-paying industry that recruits almost entirely through referrals and word of mouth, which means the only people who find out about it usually know someone in it until now. All right, Vince, spit it out. That career is medical device sales. So forget about whatever you've heard about medical device sales for a second. I'm going to give you the lowdown. This is coming from someone who broke in out of college. I had no experience and had done it for just south of a decade, earning hundreds of thousands of dollars per year throughout my 20s. First, let's talk about what it actually is. You sell the tools, the implants, the equipment that doctors and surgeons use every single day in patient care. Think the artificial knee in a knee replacement surgery, stents used in an open heart procedure, catheters used by urologists, the Da Vinci robot used in robotic surgery, cameras and scopes in minimally invasive endoscopy, laparoscopy. Someone has to sell all of that to hospitals, to surgery centers, to clinics, and that someone is a medical device sales rep. Someone has to be able to educate and articulate what that technology is and how it works and what it does to doctors, to nurses, to scrub techs. Someone has to be there on the front lines in those places of patient care to ensure that the procedures go smoothly. That is a medical device sales rep. And what that means is that you're in hospitals, operating rooms, surgery centers, clinics, places of patient care, not a cubicle. I have talked about this in many other videos and podcasts, but a medical device sales rep is one of the most entrepreneurial positions out there in the corporate world. Because you are on the front lines, because you are involved in those areas of patient care, it is done entirely face to face, not behind a desk. You shake the hands of your surgeons, not on a Zoom call. You travel out to your accounts, not to an office. And you have control and dynamics over your day to day. It's autonomous. You decide where you need to be. But what does it actually pay? Let's go ahead and dive into this. So many of you watching this would come into medical device sales as an entry-level rep. This is where college graduates, young professionals in their 20s and 30s with very little experience, folks on the clinical side, nurses, scrub techs making a pivot, or those with little B2B sales experience are going to enter the medical device space. This is typically known as an associate rep or a clinical specialist associate rep. And you will be anywhere from $80,000 to $120,000 per year as an associate typically. And this is a great starting place, guys. This is almost always a salary-based position. You do not have to worry about quotas over your head. Think of this like a paid apprenticeship in the world of medical device. You are given the opportunity to learn the ropes and support the senior team, learn the dynamics of how business is done in places of patient care. But here's where things start to get a little crazy. In just 1 to 2 years, you can ascend from a junior level rep to a senior level rep. This is known as a territory manager in most cases. And this is where you now have the full entrepreneurial, autonomous side of medical device, running your own territory, creating your own relationships, and managing your own book of business. You are immediately catapulted to $150,000 to $250,000 plus once you're in this range. For context, I broke in as a junior rep at age 23. I was making about $75K. I had no experience. I worked at a Best Buy. I just graduated college, but in 10 months, I was promoted to a senior rep. My very first year, I was making $180,000. Every year after that, through my entire 20s, I made just about $200,000, $220,000, $240,000. But it gets even crazier the longer you stay in the career path. In just 3 to 5 years, your income begins to compound and compound because your business begins to grow. You develop more skills. You can pivot to startup companies. You can get into upper management and leadership. Either way, you now have a path to making $300,000 to $500,000 plus just 3 to 5 years into the career, which is mad, guys. You are making physician level income, even exceeding some physicians' income, but without 10 to 15 years of schooling, without hundreds of thousands of dollars of being in debt. There are top reps out there that clear $300,000, $400,000, even $600,000 per year. And I've actually given several examples of those people on this very YouTube channel and podcast. The best part is the deeper you get into the career, most of this is commission based and completely uncapped. Your income's tied to your effort, not just a salary band. The harder you work, the more that you earn. There are very few careers out there that offer this opportunity. No 7 years of school, no $200,000 in student debt, no medical degrees, just effort, income. Now, who actually gets these jobs? Here's the crazy part. You do not need a science or medical degree. You often do not need any sales experience whatsoever. You don't need an advanced degree, and you don't really need connections, although it's wise to build them, which I'll talk about in a minute. What you do need is often a bachelor's degree, although a bachelor's bachelor's degrees not required. I've helped people break into medical sales on this very channel and have interviewed them who have absolutely no bachelor's degree and have broken in at over $100,000, but it is preferred. What you do need is drive, coachability, hard work ethic. What you do need is a willingness to learn clinical knowledge. And yes, you should be comfortable in an OR or patient care setting. Now, after interviewing many hiring managers in medical device and after helping many people break into medical device sales, especially those without experience, let's talk about the criteria of people that tend to succeed in breaking in and in the career itself. Former athletes, they're competitive, they're driven, they often do very well in the world of medical device. Healthcare workers, they're already exposed to the OR environment, but they no longer want that same monotonous, mundane day-to-day. They want something more thrilling and dynamic and still want the ability to impact people's lives. They do great in medical device. They already know how to speak with physicians. They're a perfect fit. People who are already in B2B sales, who are looking for that next level of B2B sales with more prestige and more higher upside. Those that are from the military, that are disciplined. They're not afraid to wake up early and work hard and stay late. Or recent grads who are just ambitious, looking for a thrilling long-term career that they want to get into now. This is also great for people who are changing careers completely, but feel that they have more potential to give and that they don't have that in their current line of work. I've given examples on this YouTube channel of people that have come from desk jobs, being an EMT, working in Starbucks, or not even being out of college yet, pivoting into medical sales. This isn't a career that you really need any permission for, which is great. And you really don't need to be qualified, quote unquote, in the traditional sense, but you do need to be willing to do what most people will not. At the end of the day, it is a performance-based, commission-based sales role. No, you're not eating ramen noodles. You're not going to have a month where you don't have a paycheck. Most medical device sales reps, even when they are highly commission-based, will still at a minimum make $120,000 to $150,000 per year. But it is a field-based grind. You will not be behind a desk. You will be driving sometimes for hours every single week, and you need to be willing to do the uncomfortable, approaching people in person, presenting deal opportunities. But otherwise, this is one of the most rewarding careers, both financially, personally, based on the healthcare impact, and entrepreneurially. So what are the real trade-offs? What's the actual downside? There must be a catch, right? Sure, sometimes you'll need to be in the OR at 6 in the morning, meaning you'll have to get up at 5 and drive a half hour to your cases. Depending on the area of medical device sales you're in, you might need to be on call if you're in emergency surgery or trauma surgery. It's also very difficult and challenging to break in because of all of the positives that we've talked about in this video. And yes, there is real quota pressure, but here's what you get in return. No $300,000 in debt, no 10 years of training required, no bar exam, no big law grind, a great base salary with great benefits, 401k, sometimes paid for cars, and autonomy and true purpose in a rewarding career where you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars very, very quickly. So what do we actually need to do to break into medical device sales? While I've talked about this extensively in other videos and podcasts, let me break down the 3 main steps to getting into this high-paying, desirable career. First, it is about positioning yourself as a future candidate. This means having a very industry-specific resume and industry-specific LinkedIn. I am not just talking about putting random sales numbers, throwing it into ChatGPT, paying some guy $100 on Fiverr to update your resume. I'm talking about making it very medical device sales specific, talking about the things that they want to see, very niche things. And you must also learn the language and the lingo of medical device sales. It's no longer enough to watch one video about a day in the life. You should understand the business of medical sales. Fortunately for you, I've got plenty of free content on this YouTube channel and podcast for you. The second step is to network, and to network strategically. You have to do the job to get the job. Many of these jobs are filled through referrals, an internal hire, or somebody that they know personally. So you need to get out there. You need to be on LinkedIn and properly networking with people, not just asking for advice on how to break in, not just asking for 5 minutes of their time, not just asking for a job, but being strategic about how you network, providing value, building deep, real relationships. I have several videos on this channel explaining exactly how to do that as well. And then finally, mastering the interview process. The medical device sales interview process is a beast. It could be 4 to 5 rounds, sometimes more, field rides, ride-alongs, sales presentations. But the key to this is actually from your networking. When you network effectively, you'll have the answers to the interview. Plus, you're watching the Break Into Medical Device Sales channel. You're listening to the Break Into Medical Device Sales podcast. You certainly have a leg up versus most people. Treat getting this job like the job itself. You need to be a salesperson to become a salesperson. So that is the $100,000 plus career that nobody talks about. It's been hiding in plain sight this whole time. A recession-resistant, high-paying industry that doesn't require a fancy degree. So the question is not whether the opportunity is real. The question is, are you going to do something about it now that you know it exists? If you want the exact step-by-step process on how to break into medical device sales, regardless of your experience, go ahead and watch this video that I'm going to tag here, or just subscribe. I post videos weekly on this topic. However, if you've already heard of medical device and you are actively trying to break in, consider working with me one-on-one at Med Device Sales Academy, where we guide you every single step of the way and audit everything to help you break in as quickly as 90 days. We've helped people break in as little as 2 to 4 weeks with no bachelor's degrees, no sales experience at over 6 figures in medical device sales. Otherwise, guys, good luck on your career journeys, and I'll see you next time.